Volvo always wanted to be one of the cool kids with an electric car, and now they have one. They've unveiled a new all-electric, the very first all-electric car they've had. It's called XC40 Recharge. Here it is. The best part about this car, though, is not made by Volvo. Maybe that's why, but I'll tell you about it a little bit later. But check this out. Looks pretty good. Pretty much like the XC40, the gas version, except for the patched up grille. And this is kind of a standard protocol for legacy manufacturers, you know, moving towards the wonderful world of electric cars. So that's fine. And, you know, I think the design of Volvo cars have come a long way. Let me know if you agree with me in the comment section. You know, remember when this was a sexy car? Remember the controversy when the trunk being higher than the front end of the car was really controversial, but people like, no, we kind of like a bigger backhand. So essentially, this car was the Kim Kardashian of the car design in the 80s, right? People literally realized they do like the junk on the trunk. But I think they came a long way, and this is also a pretty sexy car, especially for a compact SUV. Let me know what you think. But let's move on. And by the way, as good looking as this is, I still think this is the second best thing that came out of Sweden. That's right. I'm not ashamed to say it. I love ABBA. I'm European, so by law we are required. All right, so let's go back to this, and okay, let's talk about the name. And it's called XC40 Recharge. As a matter of fact, Recharge is not just the name for this particular model. This is going to be the name for all of the all-electric models they're going to have moving forward. Kind of a sub-brand, but not really. And I know people will say, but Alex, why in the world would they name an electric car after the very thing that scares the crap out of everybody who's considering an electric car? Because the recharging is this one big concern in terms of timing, in terms of infrastructure. I don't know. Could this be the worst named electric car in the world? No, that's still taken by these guys. But second, maybe. All right, let's just get past it for now. But their branding and marketing department might also need a bit of a refresh. And you know, Volvo was always been one of the brands, the legacy brands that, you know, promised us that, you know, we'll be all electrified by 2025. And you know, but at some point they actually got pretty serious. They spun off a brand called Polestar, and I've reported on them. This is the Polestar 1, which is actually a plug-in hybrid with a decent range. I think they're promising over 70 miles on this range. But after that, what is it, a couple of months ago, they came out with a Polestar 2, and this is an all-electric car that's supposed to compete with Model 3. Now, this one will have a lot in common with XC40 Recharge. Obviously, same brand, same technology, and you know, the pricing is still to be figured out, but we'll visit that also in a bit, so stick around. Fun fact. You know that Volvo is a Chinese brand. Not too many people know, but they are owned by Geely Auto. Now, yes, it was originally Swedish and they're still kind of headquartered in Sweden, but Geely bought it, I believe, from Ford for very small amount and kind of, you know, turned it around. And yes, Geely is the brand that also has models called King Kong and Beauty Leopard in their lineup. So maybe the awkward and bad naming convention comes from above. But you know, it actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise. The brand was kind of turned around, the new design, and now electrification in many different ways. So I would say kudos to Geely. Speaking of a Chinese-based but global brands, one of them is sponsoring our channel. It's Byton. Check out their all-electric M-Byte coming to the US, coming to Europe, starting at about 45,000 euros, 45,000 American dollars. You can reserve one in just about a minute, and most importantly, you don't have to put any money down, no deposits. Join myself and over 50,000 other people who already done so. So go to the description of this video to reserve your Byton today. All right, so let's talk about some stats. They're pretty decent. Though before that, can we just talk about the Volvo's logo? Is it just me, or it pretty much looks like a ripoff of the gender sign for men? I mean, I don't have a really problem with it, but like all they did is just slap the actual name across, but we can still see it. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying maybe it's time to redesign it as well. But let's go back to, let's circle back to the stats, and the stats are pretty decent. So first of all, 400 kilometers in range. Now this is a European standard of WLTP. That translates to about 200 plus, maybe 220, maybe EPA range. The battery is about 75 plus 3 kilowatt hours, so 75 usable, total 78. And it's gonna go on sale in fall of 2020, at least that's where they're planning to do it. About $55,000, that's before the incentive, so that's pretty decent. 0 to 60, 4.7 seconds. And the charging rate, the top charging rate is about 150 kilowatts. So all of these stats are good, not great, but good. And I think definitely good enough for those people who are searching for a smaller SUV. Tesla cannot compete there just yet. As a matter of fact, this car should hit the market before the Model Y. You know, the pricing wise, obviously is higher there. It is obviously a well-built a luxury car, and I think that's how they're going to be able to attract some customers. And fun fact, you know, speaking of Tesla, apparently they weren't going, Volvo wasn't going to make the battery this big and the range as long until they saw the Model 3 unveiling, and then they were like, whoa, we cannot not compete with this. And so they went back to LG Chem and CATL, which is their battery cell providers, and they're like, we need more cowbell, we need more cells for our batteries. And that's what happened. They created a bigger battery. So thank you, Tesla, for a better Volvo products that we can enjoy in the future. So that's a bit of a trip, if you ask me. But you know, it is not the first time when we see you know, Tesla driving the technology forward. Now let's talk about the best thing about this car. Like I said, it's not made by Volvo, it is actually made by Google, and it is the Android operating system that they've incorporated into the car. Now there's a lot of cool things about this. First of all, over-the-air updates, full functionality, that's great. Secondly, all of these things that all of these manufacturers are, including Tesla, are developing on their own, but already been done. For example, Google Assistant. I like my Google Assistant. I can talk to it all the time. It doesn't always understand Russian accent, which I don't really know why, but well, I mean, let's just ask him. Hey Google, is it hard to understand Russian accent?
I can search the web for that. Just tap the search chip below.
Okay, I'll take it as a definite maybe, but a lot of times it does understand. I mean, a lot of times people do like interacting with voice with their cars, and I think it's going to be happening more and more. As even Elon Musk said that like 80% of it is going to be with voice. At least that's where they're shooting with the Model 3, and I agree. But the best thing about having an Android, by the way, I know iPhone, don't panic, iPhone users, you'll still be fine. You'll be able to connect. You'll just be using a different type of interface, which in some ways actually better. You might like it. So you can still be okay with an iPhone, but an app store. This is the best feature of this car because of Android. And I don't mean just the apps that we use in our cars, like, you know, Waze and Spotify and others. Like, there are a lot of other apps. As a matter of fact, let me know in the comment section which app that's not necessarily for driving that you would love to have in your car. Meanwhile, let me give a quick shout out to one of my newer Patreons, Reza. Thank you so much for becoming a part of my Patreon community. That's the only place where you can watch this live and support this channel. Put a bread on my table. I'm a full-time YouTuber, so I appreciate all of my Patreons for supporting me. And by the way, another freebie in the description of this video is our VIP list subscription. Get on there, it's free. We'll send you a wonderful bonus story that we just can't fit in our agenda. And you know, daily news right here. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, don't forget, there's always something exciting. And I'm here Monday through Sunday, every day. And you can definitely enjoy and interact with me. I'm looking forward to your comments on this car. I'm interested to know, would you buy this car? And what do you think about the name? You gonna let him slide, or is it kind of a Turbo S type of a problem? All right, looking forward to your comments. Other than that, see you guys next time. And remember to stay recharged.